everyone, and welcome to the stream for this week. So, I'm just gonna pop this up here. Make sure that we're working. Hello everyone. Yes, and welcome. We are working. Okay, awesome. So, I am a little bit tired tonight because I did work a full day today, but I still wanted to get in a stream because I want to make these streams so that they're consistent and that they're the same every week. And so the best way I can do that is schedule it in the evenings on whatever day, and I seem to like Tuesdays, so we're gonna go with that. Tonight I'm going to be talking about how I've maintained my weight and some of the things that I do in order to maintain my weight. The first thing I want to talk about though is Locals. So on Locals you can actually become a member on there, and I've lowered the price because I'm not able to put out a lot of supporter only content right now. So I've lowered it to the minimum that Locals will let me do, and that's $2 a month. So if you want to, you can do that. Now, if you subscribe at what it was before, which is $5 a month, you do get access to messaging me. So there is a little bit of a tier over there now, but you know, whatever. I just wanted to let you guys know about that. So yeah, just a little bit of housekeeping before we get going here. So let's just get right into the content. Sorry, my nose is a little itchy tonight. Okay, so I want to talk about the things that have led me to being able to maintain my weight. So some of the things that I do in order to maintain weight, and it's not just exercise related. Actually, I struggle quite a bit right now maintaining a consistent workout schedule because I have to work my workout schedule around what I'm working at work, and there are some times where I don't get in a workout because I don't get enough time to rest. So, you know, it's about basically managing the things I can manage. I'm just gonna move this over a bit here because I feel like I'm kind of over in the corner. I don't know. All right. I just gotta think here about where I want to go with this. So, all right. So probably the biggest thing and my biggest piece of advice for this particular issue is, number one, I drink mainly water. So I think one of the biggest tips and advice I could possibly give is that don't drink your calories. So that means limiting, like, I don't hardly ever drink any juices. I sometimes drink milk. I never drink pop, or what you guys in the US call soda, anymore. I just lost my taste for it when I was on the acetazolamide, and now I just don't like the fizziness of it. So I've stopped drinking pop ever since I was put on the acetazolamide and didn't pick it back up. And I do occasionally have juices, and I occasionally like what is called Brisk or Nestea iced tea. So it's like iced tea and crystals. I believe you guys in the States call it sweet tea, but you know, it's not as like a common thing because actually, like, so when I'm in the US, I don't actually like getting fountain drinks because there's nothing that's not carbonated, basically. So essentially, I don't like anything carbonated. So yeah, sorry if I'm like swatting around, but there's mosquitoes out here now. So yeah, let's see. So how do I want to talk about this week? So, I didn't actually write any notes. I didn't have any time today. So, yeah. The biggest thing, though, is that I don't drink my calories, and that actually helps a lot. Like I said, I drink a lot of milk, and I sometimes occasionally have, like, iced tea, which is, like, sweet tea, but not very often do I drink anything else. Like, I actually have gotten into something called boba tea lately, so that's like, you guys have probably seen it. It's like a cold, almost like a milkshake type thing, but it's not, basically. And actually, those have a lot of sugar and calories in them, so I'm only like having them as a very rare treat because they are so full of calories. Another thing that I tend to do besides drinking water mainly is if I do have a treat, it's like once every, 2 or 3 or 4 days. Like, it's not very often. And if I start noticing that I'm falling into a bit of a bad pattern, I will cut myself off for a couple of days because it's basically a habit thing. And if you get used to eating a bunch of junk food, you get a bit of a craving for it, I find. So I just tend to not want to do that, basically. Sorry, I'm just going to adjust this again here. Oh, man. Mosquitoes are getting bad. It's ridiculous. We've hardly had any heat, and it's kind of sad, actually. Okay. Sorry, guys. It's really awkward when you're using the selfie cam because you try to, like, go one direction, and you have to do it the opposite on the joystick, and I still haven't figured it out despite using this so much. So, yeah. It looks okay, though. So, yeah. What's other things I do? I tend to eat a lot of things like nuts and stuff like that. It has a lot of fiber in it, so it helps you feel full. And I tend to eat a lot of nuts anyways because when I work the one shift that I do, that I don't actually have a technical lunch, when I'm on my lunch break, I actually have like nuts and things like that. But so I don't really count my calories anymore. Like, I don't sit there and actually sit and count them or put them into an app like I was when I was losing weight. But now I do I watch, but I don't directly count them. So if I'm getting kind of close to what I think is maybe a maximum for the day, then I just stop eating. And actually, speaking of that, so one of the ways that I do think I'm able to manage my weight is through fasting. So I'm not doing like anything totally crazy like some other people do, but I tend to focus my eating habits or eating and meals in between a specific window. So I tend to like to do between 8 a.m. and about, 7:30 ideally, but there are some nights that I don't get to eat until closer to 8 depending on when I'm working and all of that. So, there are some times where I basically try to keep it between that 12-hour window. And what it does is, so by not eating between 8 and 9 when I go to bed, it cuts down on the amount of snacking. So sometimes I will actually break that because I do like to live and all of that, but very rarely do I ever like have something later, like, because almost guaranteed if I'm eating after about 8 o'clock at night, it's not something I really need, and it's just something that I'm wanting to eat. So I mean, I don't say no all the time, but general rule, majority of the time I will. So yeah, mosquitoes are really, really annoying right now. It is approaching dusk though, so there's that. Let's see. I'm just trying to think. So I've talked about the not drinking the calories. I've talked about trying to increase fiber. I've talked about, you know, how I have treats and all of that. You know, I didn't actually write any notes for this, like I said, because I didn't have time. But, you know, it's hard to maintain weight. You know, people talk and give you all the congratulations when you're successful with weight loss, but they're not very supportive when, you know, it's been a while. And what I don't think people understand is that with weight loss, the weight loss is just the start of it. It's maintaining the weight after you're done the weight loss that can be just as challenging, if not harder, because you're used to, and you go back to your habits that you had before. So another thing that I tend not to do actually is snack in between meals. So when I'm in my eating window, I don't have any snacks ever actually. So I tend to have like a breakfast, which I've shared my routine. It's often just a granola bar depending on the day. If I am, you know, coming off of a lot of shifts where I haven't been eating properly, then, or eating as much as what I need to, then I will actually have a actual breakfast. But I find when I have an actual breakfast, I tend to want to eat more than usual. Like, it seems like I'm hungry even though I've eaten more earlier in the day. It's very strange, but that's what I've noticed. And so what I like to do is I like to tend to keep my lunches a little bit more like bulky in terms of calories and the amount of food that I'm eating, so that when I go and I'm ready to have like supper, what you guys might know as dinner, I'm hungry, but I'm not like wanting to eat a whole ton. Now, I mix this up a bit. There are some times where I'll have a lighter lunch and a larger supper, but generally, you know, either one of them is like the larger meal, and then the other one tends not to be as much. But the thing is that I tend to try and not eat after I've had supper as well at night, which some nights it can be a little bit more challenging just because, you know, you want to have a treat occasionally, which is fine, but it's all about determining whether it's the right decision at that point in time. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to explain, I guess. But a lot of this is just new habits that I've formed, basically. And it's sticking with the same routine. Now, my job is actually quite active, so I'm probably able to get away with some things now more than I used to. But the thing is I don't know if comparing the activity that I do at my job is equal to doing 2 or 3 workouts a week, like what I used to do when I had the time to do it. And actually, there are some weeks now where, depending on the schedule, I'm able to sneak in a workout or 2, depending on the week. So, you know, but the thing is the workouts really aren't for like the weight thing now. Like, I do my workouts actually because I want to be in better shape. Like, it helps me at my job. It helps me be able to have more energy. And it helps me function a lot better. And actually getting into this about diet and lifestyle and all of that, I honestly think that the meditation has helped me with maintaining my weight, and I'm going to get into why. So with the meditation, it trickles into like everything that you do. The mindfulness trickles into other things. And one of the things that I've actually been focused on is something called mindful eating. So it means that you're not distracted when you're eating a meal. So you're not watching any videos. You're not trying to read through social media, you're not doing anything but focusing on that specific meal, and it allows you to feel that satiety factor better. Sorry, I probably butchered that word tonight. I'm sorry. I'm really tired, guys. This is a lot after having a full day. But anyways, so essentially it's maintaining that mindfulness when I'm eating as well. And I notice when I don't do it, like I don't do this all of the time, but I've started and tried to focus more on it because it is a great way of, you know, making sure that you're not overeating and that you're eating until you're actually feeling full. And because it makes you slow down, I think it does help. But I wonder too if the mindfulness and meditation has helped me with my weight in particular, because it does help manage stress. And one of the things that I'm really, really bad about when I'm stressed out, so this is what happens when I'm stressed out. I will not eat until like whatever I'm focused on is done. That's just the way I am. And then what'll happen is I'll end up binging, and it'll be a bunch of really crappy food because I don't have the energy or wanting to cook or, you know, whatever the issue might be, right? So you end up eating a lot more junkier food and all of that because you're trying to make up for the calories, or you're just hungry and you want something right now. And so that's one of the reasons too why something like one meal a day for me just doesn't work, because you've got it just facilitates that binging at the end of the day, which is not good at all. So that's one of the reasons why I tried that, but it's never worked out. So yeah. And actually, ideally, like I would do the 16-8 diet, it's called. So it's where you can eat normally for 8 hours and then you're fasting for 16. And there are times when I am able to do that, but my schedule just doesn't work for it right now. I gotta have something in order to make it till 1 o'clock, because it's just the way it is. So yeah. But I'm just trying to think if I've covered everything. It's like this maintaining of the weight actually has been, you know, it hasn't been all that technically challenging for me, but it still takes a lot of work. And it's just kind of surprising to see like how much I actually do, even though I don't think I'm doing a lot. Like, so yeah. But that's essentially kind of what I do to maintain the weight. The biggest thing that I think is the case is that I do tend to follow serving sizes also. So like, when I have bacon or something, like I only eat the serving size for the amount of calories. Or like when I have a bowl full of nuts or a bowl full of ice cream, I actually do tend to follow the serving size, so I kind of have an idea of where the calories are and all of that. And it does make a difference, because like especially with things like nuts that have like a lot more calories because they tend to be higher in fat and all of that, it's not so much that you're eating like twice the amount that you should. Like you're eating the portion size and all of that. So that's, I think, another thing that I probably do is I actually do tend to follow the portion sizes. I don't sit there and like weigh things out and measure it most of the time. There are some times where I'll do that, but very rarely do I do that. And it's more about kind of an estimation. Unless it's very obvious what the serving size is, like 2 or 3 pieces, then I'm like, okay, 2 or 3 pieces, like that's enough. And so that's one of the things that I definitely do, is follow the serving sizes when I am having a treat, so that it gives me an idea of where I'm at. And yeah, I mean, I don't think I have anything else really besides the, sticking with water as much as possible. And I actually need to increase my water intake because now that it's getting into summer, I've noticed that I've been dehydrated a bit. So, yeah, that's been an issue. Gonna have to start drinking more water. So, yeah, what else? So, I'm not sure if I have anything else that I really want to talk about. It's hard when I don't actually make notes for these because I tend to just write an outline and then make sure that I've covered everything that I've thought of, but I didn't have the time today. So I was busy doing stuff until I went to work this morning, and then I didn't have time after I got home from work. So yeah, I think that's it though. I don't think I have anything more to talk about. I'll make sure that this video is viewable immediately after the live show is done. But yeah, I just encourage you guys to go back, and if there's anything that you want to follow or that you want to have take into account in your own lifestyle, by all means, go for it. I think one of the reasons why I've been successful though with maintaining my weight is because I had help from a dietitian when I was losing weight. So I learned about an app called MyFitnessPal. I don't know if it's still a big thing, but if you want and are trying to lose weight, I highly suggest this app. It is not sponsored, of course, but essentially what you can do is you can put in all of your food into the day, and it'll give you a rough estimation of where your calories at. And then if you're working with someone, and I strongly and highly suggest that you kind of get an idea of where your calories need to be in a day. This is more for losing weight, but even maintaining weight, I think it can be helpful. And so MyFitnessPal allowed me to get an idea of not only portion sizes, but it allowed me to get an idea of like what all I needed to eat in amounts for a day. And it has a lot of things like directly programmed into the app. So you just type in what you're having and it'll give you a rough estimate, and you'll find out just how much your portion sizes suck when you're just estimating them yourself. So I do think it's a good learning opportunity, even if you're not directly working with a professional. But working with a professional, honestly, is what helped me. As far as being gluten-free, at one time, I think being gluten-free probably did help me with weight, because when I went gluten-free initially, like when I found out I had a problem, there wasn't the kind of gluten-free junk food that there is available now. So when I was gluten-free when I was gluten-free initially, there was no substitution options. And now the options are actually pretty high calorie and have a lot of carbs in them for a lot of different things. And you can fall quickly into eating a lot of calories if you're eating a lot of gluten-free junk foods. It's really actually not great. So like, actually also, like, I almost tend to be lower carb if given the chance. So like, instead of having a gluten-free like burger, so like that has a gluten-free bun, I'll just have lettuce so that it's less calories basically. And watching your sauces and all of that is really important too. So like, I know that it's easy to overdo it on things like dressings and all of that, and that's another one of the things I do is I don't tend to eat a lot of dressing. Like, I'll eat a little bit, but it's nowhere near like the portion amount for those. So it's difficult, it's hard, and I think that's really important to mention. It's not easy trying to maintain this. It's really difficult, and it's about changing your habits basically. And so I think that app really helped me succeed. And I've actually shared that before earlier in the videos. Like I talked about using that app. So if you go back to like probably the earliest of videos back in 2019 when I first started the channel, that's probably when I would suggest that you guys check that out. Because if that app is still available, like it has everything programmed in, and you're kind of counting calories in a way, but you're kind of not. Like I was pretty liberal with it and it still gave me a fairly good idea. Now also at the time, I was able to exercise quite vigorously as well. So with being able to exercise more, you're able to have more room to burn calories, and actually muscle training as well. So you get more parking spots for sugars and all of that. That helps as well. But it's like, I don't know, it's something that just, I'm not really sure exactly what all is contributing to me being able to maintain my weight, because like I'm not feeling like I'm doing the activity that I once was. And so yeah, but it seems like everything that I'm doing seems to be working, and I think that's like the biggest thing that I want to mention. So like I think I've mentioned everything that I need to at this point. And like I said, probably the biggest one, water. Like water instead of anything with calories in it. And like I think one of the best things that ever happened to me was actually not being able to drink pop being on the acetazolamide, because I completely got rid of my taste for it. And like, you know, that might be the hardest part actually for some people, but for me, I actually think of it as one of the best things that ever happened, because it's so easy to like drink a lot of calories when you're drinking those kind of things that, you know, and I feel the same way about like, I don't like a lot of juices either. So like fruit juices I find are really, really sweet. And so I don't really like them. The one weakness I have is probably, okay, the two weaknesses I probably have are like the iced teas and the chocolate milk. That's probably the biggest thing. And like I follow the serving sizes when it comes to those when I do have them. And if I have like one, I probably tend to not have like the other in a similar day. But yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there for now. If you guys have any questions or you want me to cover something related to the topic of weight, I think I would be happy to do more in the future, because I think this is a really, really important topic, particularly when it comes to IIH. Not so much with it's not really relevant to the migraines, but like I have now been off acetazolamide for a year, and my IIH is definitely in remission. So that is really good, and I'm hoping it stays that way. Hopefully it'll stay that way as long as I maintain my weight loss. And I think that's the biggest thing going forward, is that maintaining my weight is the most important thing. So yeah. Anyways, I think that's it for this one, guys. I will leave it there for now. Make sure you guys have your notifications turned on so that you can join in on these lives. And that, yeah, because it's great when I can talk to myself, but it's even better when, if you guys have questions that come up with whatever topic I'm covering, that, you know, I can answer them right on the spot and don't need to come back into the comments. I mean, I'll come back into the comments too, so that people can have their questions answered. But, you know, it's great when you're able to join these, and if we can make this consistent, maybe we can actually get some people in here. I also think, though, that I may need to start doing this from my laptop for a while, because when I do this mobile thing, YouTube tends to restrict it on me because I don't have a lot of subscribers. So maybe if I did it from my laptop and did it from the actual webcam, it would be a little bit better. The reason why I don't, though, is because I like the angle that I get on here. So like with my new gimbal, I can set it to exactly the height I want it and have it on me in exactly the way I want it. It's lovely and awesome, and I absolutely love this thing. So that's why I tend to do the lives via mobile. And, you know, If you haven't, make sure you subscribe so that we can get our subscribers up, because when we get to 500, we get a community tab, and then I'll be able to share a bunch more different type of content with you guys. So yeah, but anyways, that's it for now, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.